Hey guys, Orly here, founder of LifeVestInside, and I want to thank each and every one of you for deciding to kick off your week with me on the weekly Kindness Kickoff with Orly, coming at you every Monday, where I do reading from my book, Kindness Boomerang, How to Save the World and Yourself through 365 Daily Acts. And then I give you, myself, and all of us out there an exciting kindness challenge based on the reading. For those of you that may not have a copy of the book and you want to get yours, first of all, the book itself is broken into 365 days, one for every day of the year. And for every day of the year, an act, a quote, and then a short reflection on the power of paying it forward, giving you simple ways to incorporate a culture of kindness into your daily life. If you want to get your copy of the book, you could pick it up or get it in three ways, either on the LifeVestInside website by going to LifeVestInside.com, or you could pick it up on one of our online retailers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Books A Million, IndieBound, iTunes. And third, you could win a copy right here. Actually, you could win two copies right here, one for yourself and one to gift forward to someone else. At the very, very beginning of every month, I will announce a winner from the past month, and that person will win two copies of the book. So how do you win that? Simply by engaging on the platform, leaving your feedback, your comments, and sharing your thoughts about that act, what was difficult, what was easy about it. At the very end of this specific video, I'm going to be announcing the winner for this past month. Unfortunately, last week I wasn't able to post up a video. I apologize for that, and I appreciate all of your patience with me. We're right now in the midst of the craziness of Dance for Kindness, which is super exciting. For those of you that may not know, Dance for Kindness is a worldwide flash mob that kicks off World Kindness Week in November. And right now I'm going through the process of onboarding group leaders from all across the globe. So it's been absolutely spectacular. Okay, so tune in at the very end. I'm going to be announcing the winner and also giving you a few more resources and ways that you could get involved with the organization. The act for this week comes to us from September 20th. My birthday actually happens to be on September 21st, which is World Peace Day. So that is coming up next Saturday. And so for those of you following along, we're going to September 20th. And the act goes as follows. Clear up a dispute you're having with a coworker. Honesty is the best policy. Approach them with kindness and let them know how you're feeling. Communicate. And the quote, honesty without compassion and understanding is not honesty, but subtle hostility. And the reflection, for over 2 years, LifeVestInside was simply me sitting in a small office working away on the computer. It wasn't sustainable, and worst of all, it was pretty lonely. Then I was introduced to Charles by a mutual friend. He started off as an intern working 1 day a week, but I saw something in him and hired him on full-time. The workload increased rapidly, and I got so accustomed to calling Charles at any time because for me, work never ended. He loved the cause and didn't seem to mind until the calls and workload became so overwhelming that Charles no longer had time for Charles. One night as I was driving him to the train station, Charles decided to speak up. We never had a discussion like that in the past, and it was new territory for the both of us. Confrontation is always scary. He began expressing how he was feeling, overworked, stressed, run down. I began to become more mindful of the times I called him, how much I asked him to do, and the amount of gratitude I showed towards him. Sometimes the conversations we fear having the most are the ones we will look back on and ask, what would have happened had we not? Communication is the glue that strengthens any and every relationship. So as you guys know, before I decide to choose the act for the week, I flip through the pages and see what stands out to me the most. And sometimes it's not so easy to mention what those things are because they're things that I myself need to work on, and all of us need to work on. Now, perhaps some of you that might be tuning in don't necessarily have a coworker. Maybe you're not in work. Maybe you're in school. But you can take this to apply to any situation in which you're having a dispute with somebody and in which you need to be honest with them, but doing it in a way where you're not attacking them. Like the quote here says, honesty without compassion and understanding isn't honesty. It's subtle hostility. So if you forget to have that compassion and that understanding when you're having that very difficult conversation, it's going to come off as hostility. Now, I have to tell you that this is very much applying to me right now in a couple of different situations that I'm in. One with a coworker, someone that I recently started working with from a different country, speaks a different language than I do, and over this past week, well, it's really been over maybe the past few weeks, it's been very, very difficult to communicate. I do my best on my part to provide all the details that this person needs to do, making sure that they have exactly what they need, they have videos explaining it, really, really detailed, and then having a meeting and going over it. And what's been happening is that time passes, the week passes, and I'm not seeing things accomplished. And when you're working on a tiny budget and with a tinier team and things get held up, it can cause a lot of frustration. And that's exactly what I was feeling, the sense of frustration. And I just had a call with this individual earlier today. And I started sharing the frustrations I was feeling and asking the questions, what is it that I can do to help better prepare you? I had a call actually with a group leader just last week, and she gave me some amazing advice. Her name is Grace, fantastic human being. And she said, I was, consulting with her about this specific situation. And she said, Orly, why not take the time to ask what that person needs to be able to do a better job? And she was 100% right. What's the idea? When we're sometimes angry or upset or frustrated about a specific situation that we're in, we can't necessarily think clearly. And so sometimes it's better not to have those conversations, not to have those confrontations until that frustration subsides and you have the ability to think clearly. And think of what questions you can ask to help bring about positive conversation and really bring you to a conflict resolution. Because if you're in a dispute and you're coming at it with a lot of fire and a lot of anger, you're not going to really get your message across. And what's going to happen is that the person on the other side of the spectrum is going to become defensive. Now, I see this playing out right now. I'm telling you, it's crazy how it applies. Every week, there's something that particularly applies to my life at that moment. And so I'm taking this as a challenge for myself, to be able, with these two relationships, to look at it from another perspective, to approach it with honesty, but remembering to bring in compassion and understanding, to understand where that person is coming from. Now, of course, there are going to be situations or disputes in which you try, you make those efforts, you continuously, and still things don't work. And sometimes a relationship with someone in the work atmosphere or whatever it may be, you just clash. It doesn't mean you're not going to be connected in the future. There are many times that I've maybe worked with somebody, there was a clash, but then we came back to work together, whether it be with work, whether it be with a friendship. Sometimes people need a little bit of their space in order to be able to get clarity and also to know that the other person you're talking to on the other side is different than you are. And I've spoken about this in the past. We all perceive things differently. We all take things in differently. We all understand things differently. And even though we think that we might be so clear on things, the other person might not be hearing it that way. But the biggest issue that can happen, the biggest problem that can happen, is that you're approaching something from a place of hostility. And if you're doing that, you're never going to be able to get through. So over the course of this week, my challenge to myself is to really work on repairing, fixing, or moving on from these relationships in whichever way that might be. And my challenge to all of you is to do the same. But the key is to first open your eyes to see that. I may not have seen this unless I was flipping through these pages and I read this act and I said, wow, this very, very much pertains to me. So think in your day-to-day right now, what may be a situation? Is there a dispute happening in some aspect of your life that can maybe use a little bit more attention, a little bit more of that honesty, filtered in with that compassion, that understanding? All right, guys, I wish you luck as you head towards completing this specific task. Share with me your feedback. What might be difficult about this? Maybe you have advice that I didn't mention here. Post it, because people will read through the comments and your advice might give them what they need in order to work towards repairing that relationships or moving it on to a different phase in some way. Thank you guys so much. Before we head off, a couple of announcements. Before I announce the winner for this past month, each and every one of you have the ability to get further involved in LifeVestInside. And what I want to encourage you to do is to learn a bit more about the organization. Take the next 3 minutes after you watch this video and head to LifeVestInside.com. Learn about either an initiative or resource that you may not have learned about or knew about. Why? Not just for yourself. For example, we have a kindness grant opportunity that we're rolling out in the 2020-2021 year for schools. And schools have the opportunity to sign up for this grant opportunity by February. And what it does is it allows schools to receive, one school will win a grant of $1,500 for their school to help them bring further kindness initiatives into their school. Now, you may either be in a school, you may know of a teacher, you may be a teacher, or you have a school that you're connected with through one of your kids or one of your siblings or whatever it may be. Take the time to take a look because there's something within our website that could be beneficial either to yourself or someone else in your network. Also, please take the time to subscribe to our newsletter, either the Daily Kind or the Kindness Flash. Information about both are on our website. You go there in the top right corner, it says sign up. And there it will give you a description about our 30-second Daily Kind that goes out Monday through Friday and our once-a-month Kindness Flash. These are really awesome resources that many people have been using both in the school and in the workplace. So check it out and give me your feedback. And of course, Dance for Kindness. If you're interested in bringing a worldwide flash mob to your school or to your city, you still have the time right now to sign up to become a group leader. All you need to do is go to danceforkindness.com/lead. All the information is there, and you have the ability on that page to sign up to become a group leader and begin the process. It is an amazing, amazing experience, and at its core, it's a leadership training program. Plus, group leaders that go through the process and obtain points through the process will also have the opportunity to win a kindness curriculum grant for a school in their district or their own school. So check it out. Okay, now to the winner. This winner has written comments on so many of the different videos within LifeVestInside, and I want to shout out two people. One of them is going to be the winner for this month, and I'm most likely betting that the other is going to be the winner for the following month. The first person I want to shout out is a dear friend that I connected with. I think we connected, it was maybe via YouTube to begin with. And his name is Leto. I love you so much. You've become such an amazing friend, and I want to thank you for your continuous posts on the channel. And the winner for the month is David Bennett. And David Bennett writes in one of the posts having to do with the concept of forgiveness. So I felt that it connected a lot with today's specific act about resolving a dispute. And he wrote, "It can sometimes be very difficult to make up after a rift, but even more difficult when you need to let a one-sided friendship go, but can't due to attachment, when your heart is telling your brain that person is something they are not. Forgiveness always allows us to move forward, but seldom lets us recapture or change the past. There are plenty of opportunities to make new friendships anyway and cherish the ones past. The very worst thing you can do is bear a grudge and hate that person for the rest of your life over something silly." David, these are really powerful words, and I want to thank you so much for your input on so many of the videos. Definitely check out David Bennett. David, you win 2 copies of the Kindness Boomerang book. So I ask you to do me a favor, email me at orly@lifevestinside.com. Send me your address, and if you are overseas outside of the US, send me your phone number for customs, and I will get you your 2 copies of the book, one for you and one to give forward to someone else. Thank you guys so much once again for joining the weekly Kindness Kickoff. Please join me again next Monday. And remember, it's kindness that keeps the world afloat. Love you all. Mwah.